Welcome everyone to our uh, webinar session in Tampere. We are going to uncover a really important topic today, buying a Finnish company. So during the webinar, we have two great keynote speakers together with us. So I want to introduce first Ilkka, and then EP will come here and then share their presentation. I know you have lots of questions in your mind because it is really hard to understand as an international person how it will be happen to buy a company in a foreign country. So how can you handle the residence permit issues or the financial tables? You have lots of questions. So you can raise your questions from the chat. We will collect all the questions and then um ask directly to the speakers after the presentations. There will be and also QA session. You can also ask your questions. Now I will give the floor to Ilkka first.
I don't need that one. I think I'll have my mic on already. So hey, nice to meet you all. And today, as Murat said, our topic is buying a Finnish company, and that's what we are going to discuss. And firstly, about a slight thing about PJ MAA. PJ MAA is a company specialized in mergers and acquisitions, and for this case, the main thing is that we can help you in buying a Finnish company. We provide expert services, we provide other services too, but that's a totally different thing, but we can help. And who I am, I'm a senior advisor at PJ MAA. I like startups. There used to be startup enthusiast there. Nowadays, I try to switch it to startup realist, and that's also something that perhaps should read there today too, because I think the realism is something we need to tackle too when we are discussing buying a Finnish company. So not perhaps only the enthusiasm, but also the realism. Then I'm an angel investor, board professional, co-founder of quite many companies, advisor to a few companies, young board professional of the year at 21, and I've been doing startups or let's say early stage companies since 2007, quite many of those so far. And that's a whole picture of me doing this my thing, so cycling and doing startups too at the same time. But diving into the actual stuff, so would you buy a Finnish company? Let's stop here for a short while. I would buy a Finnish company. I think perhaps you there online would or could buy a Finnish company too, but do you want to buy it? That's a different topic too. So at first I'll run through some concepts on why would you perhaps want to buy a Finnish company. Finland is a country as we know, and there's good things and bad things for every country. And also that applies also for the Finnish companies. But let's dive into this. So as we all know, Finland is the happiest country in the world for the 7th year in a row, which is always nice to know. If you ask a Finn, now we're here in Tampere, Finland, if we would go outside and ask if the Finns are happy or not, I think they would say that perhaps or perhaps not. And most of them perhaps wouldn't be happy. But what's the main thing about being a Finn and happy is that we have a pretty good place to live in. Almost everything is about fine. Not everything is the best one in the world, but everything is fine. I think that's the core of the Finnish happiness. Everything is sort of fine. Everything is ihan ok, ihan fine. Everything is just about fine. I think that's the core of Finnish happiness. I think the guys here can perhaps relate to that, but I think that's the core of Finnish happiness. Everything is fine. Nothing is that wrong. Nothing is exactly 100%, but everything is fine. I think that's a great way to sort of sum it up. So, but we are the happiest country in the world for the 7th year in a row. And now I'm only thinking about next year and the titles there. If we don't win it, then most of the Finns are most probably going to say that, I told you so. We are not going to win it 8th time in a row. But yeah, the happiest country in the world. And as some of you know, we became a NATO member last year, 4th of April 23. And why is that sort of important? In my opinion, that's sort of important because of the obvious stuff during spring 22, the country risk for Finland went sky high for obvious reasons. And I heard that from all my international contacts that, okay, we don't want to do anything with Finland at the moment. We don't do transactions to Finland. We don't do basically anything with Finnish companies because of the country risk. So because there's a risk, well, obvious risk. And a year ago, almost date, I think the country risk went to a normal level. So we are a happy country, and the country risk is almost zero nowadays. Well, there's many opinions, but I think the country risk is kind of low, and then thanks to NATO for that. So we are a safe country. Okay, no, we can't do anything for our location, but I think the risk is still kind of low. And then obviously we are good at ice hockey, which is the best part of why to invest in Finland or why to buy a Finnish company. As you all know, that's a really big and important thing, and especially here in Tampere, which is the home of hockey, as they say. But I think it tells you something about us Finns. So we like to do things together. We like to do them also as individuals, but we like to do things together, which means that we are pretty good on the entrepreneur stuff too. We take the responsibility for ourselves, but also for our companies and for our teams. But that's that. And then the next part, I tried to Google some population pyramids from Finland and from other countries, and then yours truly did the really nice highlighting here with a pen. But how you should read that population pyramid is that's pretty typical for Western countries, old Western countries. Well, I don't know if Finland is an old Western country, but for Western countries, so the population is aging, and that also means that the entrepreneurs are aging at the moment. So there's a kind of a lot of good, or at least moderately good companies, and the entrepreneurs are getting old all the time, which means that there are companies that might be for sale at the moment. So aging population, kind of a lot of companies, a lot of opportunities to sort of buy the companies from the old owners and do it in a really nice way. But let's see. Then how about the enterprises in Finland? That's not that old statistics, but a bit few years old, but most of them hold true for now too. We have about 570,000 enterprises. That's according to statistical government blah 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 of Finland. But anyway, about 570k enterprises in Finland, of which 533,000 are enterprises that employ from 0 to 4 persons. which means that we have a lot of small companies here, which holds true also for Germany and for Sweden and for other countries. But from 570K companies, there's 533K really small companies. And if you have a look down the table to the actual bottom of it, so we have 124 companies that employ more than 1,000 employees. Just kind of on the low side. And if you want to buy a company, I think most of us don't have the budget for it, nor the knowledge or anything else to buy a company that employs like 10,000 people. But most of us perhaps have the knowledge and perhaps the financing too to buy a company that employs either a few people or from 10 to 99 people, which means that there's a kind of a lot of companies that we could buy or sell. And because of the aging population, some of the entrepreneurs are ready and willing to sell their companies too. And because we are Finns, we are happy and blah, blah, blah. But it looks that we could have a market for buying a company from Finland. Because of the aging population, because of the way our enterprise structure is at the moment, there's a lot of companies. About 10K companies that employ from 10 to 19 people. So there's a lot of companies that might be for sale. And the question I posed in the first slide was that would you buy a Finnish company? And my answer obviously is that I would. Why not? I could buy a company from another country too, but because of those things, so we're pretty happy here. We have a lot of companies, we have an aging population, we have other stuff too. I would buy a Finnish company. Why not? Then should we start from scratch? So would you relocate here, or would someone come to Finland and start their startup here, or should you buy an existing company? Pros and cons for everything. But let's start with the new company, whether it's a high growth startup or something else. I think we have an easiest digital process here in Finland. Okay, it's a bit harder if you don't live in Finland or in the EU/ETA area, but it's easiest to do. You can do it online basically. You can handle all the financial transactions too. It costs less than 1,000 euros. It's not that costly. The setup is rather quick. If you are a Finn, you can do it in let's say 1 day, and then you will receive all the necessary papers, like let's say within a month. If you come from outside of Finland, then it takes perhaps a bit more time, but it's sort of on the quick side. And yeah, don't need equity for the company nowadays, which is nice. It used to be 2.5K, now it's 0. So it's an easy process, let's say so. But then if you set up a new company, then that's a new company, whether it's a startup or a normal company, then it's a new company. It has a new name. It has the new identification number. It doesn't have any credit history. It doesn't have a lot of things. It's a new company and with new options, but compared to the existing company, which has a brand and a name and a history, I hope a good history, a credit history and otherwise too. I hope that the existing company would have a working business model, which means that they will generate some revenue, perhaps a profit too, and I hope a profit too. Then they have an existing customer base, whatever you would be doing, but they would have customers. Then they would have some employees already. So you don't have to, when you start the company, perhaps the first thing is to get some customers, and the second thing is to get some employers so that you can do the stuff that needs to be done. And then obviously the revenue. So an existing company is an established and working company. So it has a history, it has some stuff, it works, it rolls and does the stuff, it generates revenue, it generates profit. So kind of a good thing. But coming back to the history side, the history might be not a good one. You need to consider that one. But all in all, might be so that buying an existing company could be a loophole from this place to that place. So it might be a good way to sort of bypass 2 years or 4 years or 10 years of work that the previous entrepreneur has already done. Might be a good loophole for that, or might not, depending on the cost on the company you would be buying. So depends, but might be a good loophole. Try it at least. And once again, there's a lot of enterprises that might be for sale or might not, but there's a kind of a lot of companies there. The same numbers apply for Germany as I told you before, but for Germany, I think the number of really small companies even bigger. But there's a lot of companies that you might be able to buy. All right, so as I said, there's pros and cons for everything. If you set up a new company, that's yours, and everything that comes with the company is yours. You can make up the name, you can make up everything else, and you can choose everything. But then again, you have to do that yourself. If you buy an existing company, then it has stuff already. So let's say that we want to buy a company. So how could we buy it and what should we consider? Firstly, the normal stuff. Okay, so the financial figures should match your criteria. And there's two difficult parts here. The first one is the criteria. So what's your criteria of buying a company or setting up one? So if you know, if you're a cook or if you're like an engineer or if you know something else, if you're a space technician or something else, then perhaps you should buy a company like that. So, okay, I know this stuff, I want to buy this kind of a company. I have this much time, I have this much financing, and I'm willing to work for 10 years. Okay, that's my criteria. But at first, think about your criteria. So what can you do? What would you be willing to do for the next 5 to 10 years? What's your criteria? Decide on something. And then the figures. So important figures, they're also in Finnish there, because if you do a web search on Finnish companies, most of the time you will face those liikevaihto and tulos and käyttökate, which are sort of look awful for a non-Finnish person. But part of your criteria is that how much revenue should it have? If it has a lot of revenue, then perhaps it's a costlier company, or not. Then should it do a profit? If it's a company that does a loss every year, are you able to fix the company in some way? So can you see the problem there? So if they do a huge revenue and they do a huge loss too, can you fix it in some way? Perhaps you can, and they couldn't. I don't know. And then the EBITDA. So what's the cost level? How effective the company actually is? So set up your criteria once again. So the revenue, so how much will it produce before all the costs? Obviously the EBITDA, so what's the cost and other structure, and then all together, so how much does it generate profit when you count everything in? And how does it look if you do a web search? That's from finder.fi, which is a commercial service here in Finland. looks something like this. So those are the Finnish names, look a bit awful, but liikevaihto, which was the revenue, in this case it would be 138 million euros. So the käyttökate, which is the EBITDA, would be 21.3%. Then the liikevoitto prosentti, which is the profit or loss percentage, would be 18.4%, and then the number of employees would be 318. So that's how you read it, and most of them you can translate to English or to other languages, just like by choosing it from the user interface, or then you can nowadays use AI for it. They are pretty good on translating stuff. So, but you can find those in pieces of information. And just to highlight those things that are good here in Finland too, most of Finnish companies are audited, which means that they are tilintarkastettu. They are audited, which means that we have mostly reliable financial information available from public sources. Auditing means that someone goes through the books, as you know, goes through the books and checks them out and sort of puts their stamp there that, okay, I checked through these and they're fine. And if they're not fine, they will write there that, okay, there's this thing that you should consider if you check out the company. But most of the Finnish companies are audited, which is good. Then we have an open society. We have lots of information publicly available for free or with sort of little amounts of money. And we have sort of easy and straightforward legislation for small and medium enterprises. It's okay. Compared to the US and to other countries, it's really straightforward, and it protects the owners and other stakeholders. It's a good legislation, and it's translated to English too as an official version, so you can get it online. But we have lots of data available. That's from finder.fi, so there's the revenue, then there's the profit or loss. Then we have data available from prh.fi, which is the local government's webpage. You can just like search for the financial statements. You can search for company's other information, and with little amounts of money, you can get lots of information. So we are an open society. You can get lots of information from the companies already. But okay, now you have decided to buy a Finnish company. You know something about them. Nice. Where could we find the candidates for it? If I wanted to buy let's say IT consultancy from Finland, perhaps I could visit the omistajanvaihdosfoorumi, which is a really really hard word for anyone, even here in Finland. Omistajanvaihdosfoorumi. Let's try that once again. But you can check those web pages. We have events too. You can attend them even virtually at some points. You can have a discussion with entrepreneurs who might want to sell their companies. You could have conversations with experts and so forth, or your peers. That's one place for that. That's government upheld. Then we have a commercial partner, Yrityspörssi. You can check their services there. You can find some companies from there. Then we obviously have the events. You can attend an event, which is always a good thing to do if you can. Nowadays you can perhaps do it hybrid, so that you can meet the actual people. Because if you are buying a company, it would sort of be interesting to meet the current entrepreneur there, because yeah, why not? Might be worth your while to meet them. But anyway, you can check the omistajanvaihdosfoorumi, you can check the Yrityspörssi, you can attend some events, you can do your own Googling, and when you have found out your company, you can check out their papers, either so that you can get the free information, or then you can use less than 100 euros to get their financial statements and just do your homework. But that's possible here. And obviously you have to Google and search for more information at some point. But anyway, let's play that we found our company already. What should we be doing now? Excellent question. Perhaps there's some help available. Suomi.fi, which is the government's public place. I think we had the link at our webinar page. You can surf there and check out their content. Then we have some government offices, T office, ELY centers, cities. You can get some guidance, grants in some cases. Then we have experts. We will hear about one of them from JP a bit later, and obviously PJ MAA is one of those experts. And then we have peers too. So if your friend or someone else has already bought a company from Finland, then perhaps you might want to ask them. And when it comes to experts and the public experts and everything else, and the legal side, do consider the FDI stuff, so foreign direct investment stuff. So we are an open society, but because of the things that have been happening during the last years, some businesses that touch the national security or national stuff are under more scrutiny at the moment. So the FDI stuff is a bit important. If you would be buying a company that has something to do with the DevSec sector or something else that would be sort of important for the national security, I think you need to check out the foreign direct investment stuff from somewhere. So go ahead and read it. And everything is sort of easy if you come from inside the EU/ETA area, but a bit harder if you come from outside that place, because according to the Finnish legislation for small and medium-sized companies, at least one of the board members need to reside inside the EU. They need to have their address there. So that's something you need to. Okay, you can get the exceptions for that, but in principle, one of you should reside inside the EU. But okay, it's doable most of the time. There are some bureaucratic burdens, but and things, but they can be handled. But there's a lot of help available. Go check the links that we had at the webinar page. They're really good resources there. But once again, when you have decided to buy a Finnish company, check out the help, check those resources out, ask from someone, think on if your possible acquisition concerns national security for Finland, and if it does, then the FDI and blah blah blah. But after that, do your homework, do the due diligence. I think you're familiar with that one. In a due diligence process, you just check out what you are buying, and if what you are buying is what they are selling to. And most of the time, that's the same stuff, but not always. So perhaps some of the time the salesperson or the people selling the company say something and it doesn't hold true. Most of the time, yeah, but do your homework. Check out the company. Check out the financial stuff. Check out their tax status and everything else that you absolutely need to do. Okay, let's play. We contacted the experts. We did our DD. Now everything is fine, except that we don't have the money to buy the company. Financing could have been the first phase and perhaps should have been, but I put it here. Where can you get the financing for buying a Finnish company here in Finland? Obviously, the banks are one of the one of the places to go. Finvera, which is the government office, they provide some entrepreneurial loans for buying a company, and they also guarantee the loans for most of the banks. So perhaps at some point you should check out the Finvera material. They have really good material there in English, so check those out. Then obviously the investors, you can get investors on board from somewhere, and then obviously you can use the seller financing at some point, which means that perhaps the company seller will finance it in a way. That's a different topic for different conversation, but let's tackle that at some point. But there are financing options in Finland, and I think the situation at the moment is actually pretty good. And even for people from outside of Finland, because most of the materials are in English. The banks are okay-ish if you can, if you somehow become their customer and get the bank account open. I think the things are fine, but most of the time they're quite good. Okay, there are obviously hindrances, but that's how it always goes. So now you have done your DD, you have financed it some way, and to keep in mind from Finland, things that you should consider before you sign the actual paper. Now you have financed it, and now you have the papers, and now you're about to sign them either digitally or manually. We have pretty low hierarchy at the workplaces. So the Finnish way of working is that we do the work. There's no like big hierarchy pyramids or something like that. We are people who like to do things together, and there are no like a serious hierarchies at anywhere. The continuity, if you buy the company, is really important. So you should sort of portray that, okay, I bought the company, but these things are going to change or they are not going to change. This is my plan for the company for the next years. If you want to keep your employees, I would do that. And always keep in mind that Finland is not a country, but a country club. And that means that we are a small country of only 5.5 million people, which means that most of the people know someone from somewhere. I think Iceland it's even smaller, and they know themselves a bit better too. But Finland is a small country. Someone always knows someone. So if you buy a Finnish company, try to keep that in mind, that when you run it in a smooth way, the word of mouth will be really good. But if you run it in a different way, then the word of mouth might be something else. And then my favorite acronym, USIVUK, which means that what you see is what you get. And most of the time that applies for the Finnish companies too. So what you see is actually what you get. If it looks like this, it most probably is like that. So what you see is what you get. If it looks like a good company, it most probably is. If it looks like a bad company, most probably it is. And if it looks that it has done a loss for the last 10 years, perhaps there's no way to fix it or something else. But what you see is what you get. And then auditor is our friend. As I said, most of the Finnish companies are audited annually, which means that the books they keep or the financial statements are mostly true. Not in all the cases, but mostly they are true. And obviously we have a good and stable environment, and then there's the but there, because things are happening all the time. But in most of the cases, things are pretty good here in Finland. And if you want to continue the business, it's fine, but you have to be sort of open to keep the employees and show that everything works fine. Okay, now we're almost there. I only have 57 more slides here. But we're almost there. So now we have sort of bought the company, or at least we have signed some contracts, so everything should be fine. And to closing into the final 3 points, we have a good legislation when it comes to SMEs. It's straightforward. It's easy to learn. It protects the stakeholders. I think it's a good one. And when it comes to FDI, so the foreign direct investments, I think that's a pretty good legislation too. So you can do it. Okay, perhaps there's some bureaucracy involved, but you can do it, and it's really straightforward. So if you read something from the legislation, it goes like that. So what you see is what you get, and most of the time it's not that difficult to do. Then we have an aging population. Okay, it brings us some challenges, as all the Finns know. So the amount of pensioners is going up all the time and blah blah blah. But it gives us, or you guys and girls, there a lot of possibilities, because most of the entrepreneurs are aging too. And as we saw, we have more than 500k companies, of which more than 500k companies are the small companies. So there's a lot of companies that might be for sale. And then again, valuation may be okay. So Finnish companies might be decently priced or not, but most of the time they are decently priced. And just go for it, as I said there in the bottom. I think why not? I would buy a Finnish company. I think you might too, or you should too, at least consider buying a Finnish company. And now I had the question slide here, but I think we will bypass it and welcome other persons here. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ilkka. Now I think I'm super excited to buy a company.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. And also you covered all the necessary steps. So where they can find the information, company, and what are the possibilities about the checking the financial tables and everything. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
We are going to share all the links with the participants after the webinar. Now we can give the floor to EP.
Okay.
EP. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I'm JP Kinos, so it's actually Jukka Pekka, but I've been called JP since I was 5. So, and I'm here representing the business mentors of Tampere, trying to give you a little bit of information what we do. So, like Ilkka just told you, it is an opportunity, a big one, to maybe purchase a Finnish company. And if you are considering the acquisition in here, I think you would agree that experience could help you. And that's what we are. I mean, the business mentors. That's what we give. We give our experience for you to help. And who are we? We are all experienced business people, experienced in real life, not from training. Just been working in the Finnish and actually most of the cases in international business environment. We want to be your companions, helping you going forwards, walking with you. And we are giving you help without any financial compensation for our work. And we are really committed to help you prosper. It's our win to see you to be successful. We debate and we challenge you. That's the way how we empower your decision making. couple of words about the basic principles for business mentoring. So we are discussion partners. We discuss with you. We are companions. We are not consultants. We are not trainers. We are sharing our experience. Like I said, the experience is the key thing in here. And the most important thing in here is to trying to help you or helping you to avoid problems, because there's always problems and there's always ways to solve them. We are not taking the responsibility of your business. You're going to be responsible for the business yourself. And anything what you tell us, what we are discussing, what we do, we don't tell that to the bankers. We don't tell that to anybody. It's full confidentiality in here. It's only between you and me, whoever is your mentor. A couple of basic information about the business mentors of Pirkanmaa. So we've been empowering businesses in this area for over 30 years. We are dedicated non-profit association. We have an extensive mentor network, more than 150 experienced business mentors actively looking to help you. Just to give you an idea, a couple of numbers from last year. We conducted 193 business clinics, which we call, it's a kind of workshop. I explain a little bit more in the next slide. We facilitated 109 entrepreneurs in having their own contracted business mentor. That's last year only. The way we work is kind of unique. The idea in here is that if you are interested in getting this type of help, you contact our association and we schedule a business clinic. In the business clinic, you're going to come and sit with us, you and 3 or 4 business mentors, spending 2 hours together, fully concentrating in your business, what you want to tell us about that, and what you explaining us what you think how we could help. During that time, you can kind of feel what this is all about. There's no obligation, that doesn't cost anything. After that meeting, sometimes you got everything, you got all the information you needed in that meeting, but in most of the cases, you maybe want to have your personal mentor who's going to be working with you. Most of the mentoring relationships, they take 3 to 5 years, even longer. But again, you don't need to decide that in there. After the meeting, you come back after a couple of days and tell to our organization if there was somebody you want to keep working with or not. And if you do, we do have a small registration fee, which is something like 200 euros. Other than that, we don't charge anything for our services. And I think that's a pretty good deal for getting experience that might be hard to even purchase. We also have measured the importance or the results, what our work has been done. These numbers are from a 5 years period from 2016 to 2021. And within this time, 5 out of 10 companies that we worked with have increased their turnover. An average turnover increase is roughly 100%, so they have doubled their businesses. Average profit, which is even nicer. The profit has been quadrupled, meaning multiplied by 4. And 2 out of 3 companies have hired more people. So based on these numbers, I think it's fair to say that looks like we are doing something right. And of course, the other option is that only good companies contact us. So I think it's important for you, specifically when we speak about such a big step and purchasing a company, specifically being international people coming from different culture, different environment, to have somebody who actually really knows how the business works in here and is willing to help without any willingness to earn money from you. We are happy if we can make you successful. That was my story. Thank you for listening, and I guess the questions and answers comes next.
Yeah, thank you, JP. It's, I think, better for the pronunciation for the non-Finnish person. So we can get now questions. So we can come to the floor. Yeah. I think the main question in the participants' mind is it possible to buy a company as a non-Finnish, non-European citizen? Is there any restriction to buy a company in Finland as a foreigner?
So I can go first. So it is possible to buy the company from a Finnish company as a non-Finnish person. Obviously, it's possible. The exceptions are the sort of companies that are close to national security. That's an exception, and for the national benefits, so to say. So those are the exceptions, and then there's some exceptions when it comes to the legislation for small and medium-sized companies. So you should have your address. Some of you should have your address in the EU/ETA area, but it is possible. Would you add something?
I think it's pretty clear. We don't have any major restrictions.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
Is there any other question? Yeah, maybe I can.
Hello, yeah, chat host Joni here. Thank you for all the questions. Actually, plenty of questions at the chat. Another question that has been asked several times is that where you can find companies that are for sale. Is there any online portals or something like that where you can find those companies?
Yeah, I think you already answered something.
Yeah, I think I answered some of that. So there's the commercial option, which is the Yrityspörssi. I think you have and then there's the Omistajavaihdosfoorumi. I think you have the links there in the lower part of the registration page, and we will post them a bit later. So at least those work, and then there are a few other options, but we will post those links. But there are.
I think one of the important information in here is that I'm not 100% sure that my numbers are right, but I think it gives you the picture. They estimated a couple of years ago that within the coming 5 years, there's 50,000 companies who are looking for next generation owner or somebody to run that. And we have not really seen that many to be changing the ownership. And I guess that what it tells us is that a lot of those companies are just simply closed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And most likely, it also means that there really is an opportunity to get in there if you know what you're doing, if you have the skills which are valuable for that type of business, and you have the help to make sure that you understand how the business is done in here, because we don't have any gray business. Everything is open here. and we play by the book.
Yeah.
Which is not exactly true in every European countries even.
Yeah. So what you see is what you get, and then obviously the events too. So not all of the aging entrepreneurs will post their company to an online portal, but perhaps they might be attending the events, which is a good way to sort of meet them and perhaps sort of build the relationship or build the trust in the first place, and tell them how you could benefit the company, what's your skill set as.
How about you, Ilkka? Do you actually get sometimes kind of silent information which is not really public?
Quite often, and I think you guys do. Obviously, you have the NDA there as I do, but yeah, we get those quite often. So it's always nice to know some people and ask that, hey, and obviously PJ MAA works with that kind of a model too, so we can help you with those kind of companies, because we do get the deal flow from the entrepreneurs who want to sell their companies. So PJ MAA is one place to go, obviously, as a commercial
and it's actually your business, so you're doing that for a living.
That is our business, so selling and buying companies, so
correct.
Please contact us too.
Yeah. And what our role is that we come there to make sure that there is no misunderstanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Another question actually about the public information that is asked, and you say that what you see is what you get, but there are questions that can you trust the public information that you have from the companies, or is there like are people trying to like fool those or that, or can you just trust information that you can get from the RH, or for example?
Well, I believe that if there is a public information, it is trustworthy.
Yeah.
Of course, there's crooks everywhere, but there are not too many. So
yeah.
And again, even if a company doesn't have an audit, you can easily request an audit.
Yeah, that's true, and that's not too costly for the company to do.
Correct.
So most of the time, I think, as JP said, you can trust the publicly available information. There are exceptions, but there are exceptions for everything. So if it looks sort of trustworthy and you do your homework, do the due diligence, most of the time you can trust the data available.
Yeah, I think the things what I have seen coming up, which might be the most dangerous, is that the previous owners, they had some verbal deals with somebody, they may not be written anywhere, and that's what you need to be careful with. But that's why we are in here.
Yeah, true. So you need to do the DD for the contracts too. So because if it's an old company, they might have done only verbal contracts, and they might not get transferred when you buy the company. That's a bit of a problem if you want to buy some like contracts and.
Yeah, but that's still an exception.
But that's an exception. Yeah. But mostly you can trust the publicly available data.
Good. Yeah, there actually there are plenty of questions at the chat, and I think we can't answer all of them right now. But we can actually get back to you for some answers in the email. But maybe a few more questions we can have time for. Franchising.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get a question from a participant. Is there any possibility to find the franchising companies also from these portals and also
So
some places?
Yeah. Do you have any information how McDonald's and other things who are franchising their businesses how do they work?
I think
I don't have any experience in that.
Not that much experience, but I'd guess it works like that. So there's not that much franchising targets available at the public sources, because the franchise companies tend to provide them or try to give them for some entrepreneurs. So I think the way to go with the franchising is to contact the actual franchise company. So if you want to set up a McDonald's, I would contact the McDonald's here in Finland, or if you want to set up a Subway, I think I would contact the Subway Finland and try ask them that, hey, I would be willing to set up a franchise somewhere in Finland. So could I? And most of the time, I think perhaps you could if all the things are okay.
Yes, actually, another interesting question. Does the company need to adhere the specific field of operation? For example, is it possible to purchase an electronics company and later transition into a consultancy? Or if you buy a company, can you change? How much can you change? Kind of the
Well,
So
you can say anything you want. It's not really that fixed in here. So
nowadays at least it doesn't. It isn't.
But it's a different story. Why would you buy an electric company if you want to do consulting? So
but it is possible. And then for the tax authorities, there's the industry you need to provide there, but you can change that one too. And it, as JP said, you can change almost everything. Okay, it might involve some bureaucracy and some costs, but those are maybe a couple of €100 or something like that. So,
is there any tax? For example, if you want to buy a company, some sort of buying tax or transaction tax related to this acquisition?
I don't really think that the purchase itself should include any taxation. Of course, the person who sells has to pay tax for his income, but well, he might be getting some profit or whatever. But the transaction itself,
I think that
I don't think there is.
I don't see something there. If there is, there is, but I don't see that there would be.
Anyhow, it's nothing significant.
Yeah.
And also, I saw some question related to taxation in general. But of course, we can send a guy to them, so they can check it out from there as well. So we have now in Finland 20% for corporate taxes, which is I think one of the lowest level in this region.
It is. It's pretty decent, and you pay it from the profit.
Yeah. And also there isn't any in advance tax payment. Without profit, you don't need to pay anything for taxes.
It depends a bit, but on those lines.
Generally speaking,
on those lines,
The question is that if you purchase a business that keeps earning certain amount of money, so you keep paying also a kind of estimated tax. But at the point when you realize that, hey, I'm not going to get that profit, so you can change it. So
you can change it at any point, but like that,
Okay, time is running up, but one last question: is there a minimum base cost for the running company if there's no operation, or is there any kind of is the pricing? Can you just any restriction?
That's pennies. So you may be paying a kind of annual registration fee. So maybe you to get some documents done. I think that's it, but it's not significant again.
It's not significant, and if it's a sort of a working company, but put it into the box, I think it's less than €500. Pennies is more accurate, but I think it's less than €500 if you want to do it exactly by the book. So you want to do the bookkeeping and you want to do the auditing and you want to everything else, but it's pennies.
Yeah. If you're not capable to do your bookkeeping yourself, then you probably need to pay for that. So
but that's
you need
not
to
too
do
much. Yeah, that's not too much, but but it needs to be done. In any case.
Thank you very much for your really, really interesting and also significant information for our audiences. We are going to send an email to whole audiences. Inside this email, you will find necessary links and information, and also a feedback form. So if you are really interested in buying a Finnish company, please send us reply this email to us. And also we will have a event here next month, Omistajan vaihtosmarkkinat. It's hard to pronounce it, but it means it's an on-site event. We'll be here. I will also send you the link about the event. Who are living in Tampere region or in other cities as well, you can join this event, and then you can also talk to some of the entrepreneurs who are willing to sell their companies here. So maybe also you can meet with other service providers here, so you can get more information. Thank you for listening us, and also thank you again.
Thank you
for
for
your
having us.
really invaluable comments and then information.
And again, experience helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Always.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Bye bye.